Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to Referrals Podcast. And today is going to be especially amazing because of the very, very special guest that we have here today. She is the most powerful form of credibility for my sales skills in the history of the world. One look at her, one look at me, and you instantly know that I must be one of the greatest salesmen in the entire world. And that's all you need to know. And yet, what people also don't know about Sheri Maher is that she is one of the most awesome moms and people that I've ever met in my life. Caring, sharing, beautiful on the inside as well as the outside. And so, without further ado, I want to welcome Sheri Maher, COO of Referco, to today's Referrals Podcast.
Thank you.
And the cool laugh. So this actually comes from George Belville. It was his idea that we should have a podcast where Sheri kind of asked me some questions. My first thought was, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't turn weird. And I want everyone here to know that we have not rehearsed any questions, and I honestly don't know necessarily what she's going to ask, but she also has a full docket of coaching clients, and I believe that she has room for one more. If you're interested in that, sign up for callwithcoach.com. But I think the big thing here is that she's just going to ask me kind of some of the most common foundational questions that she gets from her coaching clients, or whatever she wants to ask, which is eternally nerve-wracking for me. So I think that we'll jump right in, and I have to give George a shout out, and also all the people who posted on that strand of we need some podcast ideas, like who's really killing it, who's doing awesome, who's changing lives, who's getting money for charity, who's got sponsors, so we have enough ideas for 5 years of podcasts now, thanks to everyone out there. So we just wanted to say thank you to that. If you're not a part of our Generosity Generation referral group, go to joingengen.com. We'd love to have you. And we're growing very, very rapidly right now. So I think without further ado, what question do you have for me?
Well, Michael, thank you for letting me.
Uh-oh.
I'm just kidding. Okay.
I feel like I took truth serum, or I just put my hand on the Bible. It's like I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. No, really, help me God right now.
Yeah, you probably need it. No, I just thought we'd start with something simple and something really foundational to start with. So,
okay.
Tell me about the referral mastery system.
Yeah. So and this is such a great place because we have, 12 to 15,000 people every month who listen to the podcast. And if they catch it midstream, they have to kind of be wondering, how does this all fit together? Mm-hmm. And it all fits together with the referral mastery system. And the reason I designed the referral mastery system is because everywhere I went to learn about referrals, nobody had a system. They all had a strategy or two, or a different script for asking for referrals, which all of them felt very uncomfortable to ask. And I actually tried asking them, and it's just man, that's just not sincere. It's not authentic. The win is only for me here. I'm not into that arrangement. I want the win to be for them. And then when they win, they want me to win too, and they help me win. So it was created because, I went to all the other trainings and learned what they had, and nobody had a system. Nobody even had a freaking checklist. They all had, oh, go do this, where you stop by people's houses and you write handwritten notes. Like, all right, tell me how to write the handwritten. No, you just write the handwritten note. It's like, what? And that's why I designed the 7 steps to a power note, is so people could actually literally know exactly how to write a power note that's going to keep the relationship going. And so there's 3 elements to the referral mastery system, which aligns really well with our 3 values. We have the 3 values of love, most powerful force in nature, right? Spirit and nature. And so you got love, and then you've got generosity, and you've got appreciation. Generosity is love in action. It's very proactive. Go out and be generous and be a giver all the time. And then appreciation is love in reaction. Things in life are going to happen to us, for us, around us. Our life is going to happen. We need to appreciate everything that happens. And in many cases, this is maybe harder than it sounds because something bad happens to us. But we have to appreciate something about that, because our life goes on, and it's like, how does that enrich our life? How does it make us tougher? How does it make us better, right? If it doesn't kill us, it can make us tougher, right? Mr. Nietzsche is the founder of that, of that thought. And then there's all these great things that happen to us. And it's like, we need to appreciate those. And a lot of times we do appreciate those. And then there are the neutral things that sometimes we forget about, like we're healthy. We have our fingers and toes. We have, we have the ability to see. We have the ability to hear. We have a car. We have grass. We have, desert. We have the sun, whatever it may be. And it's one of those where we need to appreciate what we do have. In fact, I say that it's time to take our insatiable appetite for what we don't have, and we need to replace it with an insatiable appreciation for what we do have, because we do have a lot. And the only way to get more of what we want is to appreciate what we have. Because what you appreciate appreciates. It's like a son or daughter. If you got them a cell phone and they went to school and then you picked them up and they didn't have their cell phone and they're like, I don't know where it went, would you get them another phone? And the answer is you'd probably get them another phone. So the next day you take them to school, and then maybe 2 days later you come back, it's like, where's your phone? It's like, I don't know where my phone is. I lost it, or I broke it, or something, or I gave it to a friend. And it's like, wow, okay. So would you get them a third phone? And the answer is you probably wouldn't get them a third phone. Why? And you might think, well, they're not responsible. Well, responsibility is a subset of appreciation. They just simply didn't appreciate the gift. And, they didn't have skin in the game because they didn't buy it, or there were no repercussions for losing it, or they just didn't appreciate the phone. So here's what's interesting. 5 or 6 years later, when they want a car or they want something else, are you ready to invest in them? Are you ready to buy them something? And the answer is probably not, because they didn't appreciate the phone. So what you appreciate appreciates. If they would have appreciated that phone and really taken care of it, you know what you would have done? Got them a new phone in a couple of years with no questions asked, and bought the car 3 years later with no questions asked. Why? Because they were appreciative of things. And we need to teach our kids appreciation. We need to teach ourselves appreciation. And what you appreciate appreciates. You want more great relationships in your life? Appreciate the ones you have. You want more business in your life? Appreciate the business you have. If you want whatever it is, you want more money in your life? Appreciate the money you have by forming a budget, or making sure that you've got a financial planner who is overseeing the finances of your life. So the bottom line is those are the 3 values that leads to the referral mastery system, which is the 3 pillars of the referral mastery system. We have self-mastery, which is the one-to-none approach, one to none, one to ourselves. And we have the acronym of FLY, first love yourself. We need to first love ourselves before we get really good at loving others. And we can learn both in the process. We can start loving on others and sometimes even get better at it before we love ourselves. But then eventually what happens is it catches up. We learn to love others, and then we start to love ourselves because of the reaction we're getting from others, and we're seeing we can make a difference. We are a difference maker. And self-mastery, the big thing with self-mastery is what's your growth plan? And that's why we teach the rituals. That's why we have time mastery class coming up next month, is because we really need to figure out what does our life look like, which leads to a schedule. I mean, people go, I don't like time blocking. So you don't like your life. Is that what you're saying? It's like, no, I don't like my time. I don't, I feel like I'm wasting time, or I don't want to be that structure with like, oh, so you don't want to take control of your life. Is that what you're saying? Because really time blocking is life blocking. And the fact of the matter is, if you want to get a lot done, you need to block off your life. You need to block off your time and schedule it. So, here's the thing. I tell my coaching clients all the time. It's like, they're like, I want to make more. It's like, well, how much did you make? And it's like, oh, I made whatever. And I go, all right, let me see your schedule, right? So your schedule is the schedule of someone who makes that amount of money. Do you want to keep that? You want to make more money, or do you want to keep that schedule, right? And it's like, well, I want to make more money. So we got to change your schedule. What are we going to change on your schedule that's going to drive more money? And that's where it leads to all these other great changes within the referral mastery system. And the second pillar is relationship mastery, which is the one-to-one part of, or pillar of the referral mastery system. And the one-to-one is, how great are you in conversation? How do you do on the phone? How do you do in a Zoom? How do you do in a one-to-one meeting? How do you do in a conversation? How do you do in a consultation, like a buyer's consultation, listing presentation, or if you're in sales, initial consultation? We just met with several landscapers to do some work in our backyard, and the level of sales skills, professionalism varied from literally none to extremely good. And it's one of those where it's like, that's an important part of sales and business, is how you are in a one-to-one situation. And then the last pillar is the event mastery pillar. And this is the one-to-many strategy. And this is the one that most, in fact, I couldn't find it anywhere. Nobody had this element to their referral system. And so it's a big part of our system. The event mastery is our one-to-many strategy. And it's, what are you doing for events? Are you going to they events? And are you turning those into we events? And the difference is, they events, other people invite people. And the we events, you invite people. And, you should develop these we events for your tribe, and you should develop a tribe of trust. And that's what you do under the event mastery pillar of the pillar. So you've got self-mastery, relationship mastery, event mastery. Now you have approach for one-to-none, which is self-mastery. And we have the one-to-one approach, right? So we build great relationships one-to-one, and a person will disclose to you something in a one-to-one they would never even bring up if there was another person in that conversation. And then the last one is event mastery. And we know that the secret to success in sales and business is conversation. How many conversations are you having? Well, an event leads to a lot of conversations in a short amount of time. Plus, it delivers benefit way above and beyond whatever you invest in the event. And we've got it down to a science to where you can actually make money making money. You can actually make money having the event, and then you can actually make money by converting the leads and referrals from the event into business. So that's essentially the referral mastery system in a nutshell.
What do you think it is about the event mastery arm? Why is that such a game changer?
Well, it's leverageable and scalable. That's the biggest thing is one thing that you can leverage that people don't talk about a lot is the talk about function. So we need to give our army of ambassadors who are within our tribe of trust, right? A couple terms that I throw around a lot. The tribe of trust is your tribe of trust. These are the people that know you. They're the people you know and that you want to be in regular communication with. They're basically, the thing for most people is it's a lot of dotted lines. They kind of know each other and you kind of know them. What you want to do is you want to make that a solid line, and then you want to make that a bold line with two arrows on both sides. And so I think the first thing is that we need to get people talking about our business more than we do. And as an introvert, I knew that I wasn't going to go blab about my business. In fact, we have a brand consultant that I just brought on, and he is all over me. He is punching me right in the throat on a regular basis about my picture not being on everything. Right? I mean, this is the Referrals podcast. This is not my name podcast. This is not podcast by my name. This is the Referrals podcast. Why? Because it's about referrals. How do we get more referrals? And that's what we investigate on a weekly basis, is how to get more referrals. And he's all over me about my picture's not on the podcast album, and my picture's not on my book, and the picture's not on the Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agent book, and my picture's not even on the website. And it's like, okay, I get it. And that's always been my way, is to like rise up others instead of myself. And that's the thing about an event, is as an introvert, I'm not going to champion myself. But what I discovered is when other people spoke highly of me, it actually meant more to the marketplace than if I spoke highly of me. So it wasn't me with a megaphone, it was me equipping my tribe with a megaphone, but now they need something to talk about. Well, when we had these phenomenal, fun, value-laden events, people would shout from the top of their cube in their office or the top of their roof about our events, and it gave them what I call a talk about. And we need to give them a talk about. So it's leverageable in a different way, in that everyone has a talk about. The other way that it's leverageable is that you don't have to be there to have a conversation about yourself. So at an event, we have this formula that is like plus like equals 2 loves. So how does that work? A person who meets you, or a person at your event, likes you. They obviously liked you enough to come to the event, or they liked whatever you're doing for entertainment enough, but they like you a lot because you let them do the entertainment. And so they like you, they meet another person who likes you. Well, when they talk, they're like, oh, you like them too? And it's like, yeah, I like them. And all of a sudden, when they part that conversation, they don't both like you. They both love you, and they're emboldened, and they're actually empowered to refer you even more because they know there's other people like you, which is the power of social proof that kicks in with events that don't kick in with any other way of growing your business. And it happens instantaneously, spontaneously, organically. And here's the thing, it doesn't happen reactively. It doesn't happen spontaneously. You made it happen. How did you make it happen? By having an event. The event made that opportunity happen, which is why we always say in Event Mastery, which by the way starts today. You can sign up for Event Mastery, eventmastery.com. Go sign up today, and it will blow you away. And the thing about it that I'll also say about Event Mastery is that, listen, I'm going to give you a little hint about Event Mastery. It is our signature course. It's 7 weeks of me holding your hand. I mean, how would you like me to help you plan your next event? Would you like me to help you as a consultant? What would you pay me as a consultant to help you run your next event? If I can guarantee you 10 referrals at your very first event, how much would you pay me as a consultant? What would it be worth to you? What would one referral be worth? And here's the thing, it doesn't even cost any of that. It doesn't even cost half that. But here's the thing that'll even take it to the next level. How would you like me to do it 3 times a year? I'll help you run 3 events a year. Okay, now what are we talking? How much is that worth? Well, here's the thing. If you sign up for Referral Mastery Academy, you get 3 event masteries a year, led by me holding your hand through the event. And they're scheduled for the spring, summer, and fall, exactly when you should do your events to maximize your referrals. Literally the exact months and days, with the 7th week and the 6th week being the right weeks for event and follow-up. And I do it 3 times a year. And that's Referral Mastery Academy, which is less than $100 a month. Less than $100 a month. And by the way, you also get our rituals classes, 2 book clubs a year, Accelerate. You get all these different things. Accelerate will be a small upcharge because of the upfront expense that we will be putting that together, but it's going to be super, super inexpensive. And then you get all of the referral library. which has thousands of resources to help you get referrals. Oh, we're not done yet. You also get 2 masterminds a month. You get me leading a mastermind, and I will tell you the feedback on the last one was off the charts. And we also have the mastermind led by Tara Carter, the 3rd Thursday of every month, and that has blown people away. All of that for less than $100 a month. You can't beat it. And so I think the big thing about event mastery, it is different, right? They're all important. Self-mastery is very important because if you're not honest, you're not full of integrity, if you're not growing, then you're not going to attract the right people to the events, right? And, relationship mastery is everything because you have the events, everybody's like loving you and they go, hey, I'd like to, maybe sell my house in the spring. What do you do next? By the way, I've had that question. I've literally had that question in event mastery where it was like I had my event and I had this person come up and say, well, I've got this $750,000 house and I think I'm going to sell this spring. What should I do? And they're like, well, what do you think I should do? Get the freaking appointment. Like, get an appointment. Go meet with that person. Do your listing presentation or do a seller consultation in the office, whatever makes sense for you. But it's like, then it becomes a one-to-one, and we need to be good at the one-to-ones. But in a lot of cases, how you're going to leverage and scale referrals at the highest level are going to be the event mastery piece of it. And you look at Scott Edwards, right? He got 815 referrals last year as a lender, and over 800 of those were from events. So I think that's the big thing. And
if you could talk a little bit about the focus of this event mastery, because I have a lot of clients that say like, well, I don't know if I could throw an event where I get 200 people, or what if I do throw an event and I get 200 or 300 people there? That it freaks them out. So talk a little bit about what the focus is of this event mastery class.
Yeah, that's a great question because I'm on a big kick right now, and the big kick is small events, big results. So here's what has happened is, all right. So have I ever told you of the Indian named Stam? Sheri? You don't remember the story of the little Indian Stan?
No.
So here's the thing. Stan was a young boy. He was a young Indian boy, and he's on the Western Plains. And you're going to have to bear with me with this story because it has a point, but it's going to take a little bit longer. A lot of people are using the buffalo metaphor of charge the storm, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to tell a story about buffalo just to show like everything about buffalo. So here's the thing so Stan is a little Indian boy. He's 9 years old. He gets to set in with the warriors one day. And so he's setting in with the warriors and all the warriors are sitting around and they're like, we need to bring down the big bad buffalo, right? And listen, one buffalo could feed a hefty part of the tribe if they could just kill one buffalo. Well, so what they did is they would send their best warrior out to get the buffalo. Well, the warrior would go out and throw the spear, and sometimes they would hit the buffalo. Well, they hit the buffalo, and the buffalo just kept going, and the person could never catch the buffalo, and it didn't hit the buffalo anywhere important. So, eventually the spear would get out, and they wouldn't be able to eat, right? And so, a few weeks later, they're realizing that this one guy going thing is not working with the best warrior. So they noticed that there had been some dead buffalo and they were wondering why. And like the wolves had caught them. And so they noticed that behind the left shoulder of the buffalo was where the heart was located. So they thought, all right, we'll be more precise. We'll get a better script, right? We'll be more precise with our throw. So they practiced, and they even painted up on a cave, the side of a cave, the picture of a buffalo and put a little red mark at his heart, and they all practiced on throwing it. So they sent out their best warrior and they went out, and guess what? He threw it and he hit him in the heart, and it killed a buffalo, and everybody was thrilled. It was awesome. And then a few weeks later, they went to do it again because they were starving. They needed more buffalo. And they went out, and guess what happened? He threw it. It didn't quite hit the buffalo in the heart, the buffalo charged the warrior and killed that warrior. So now what was going to happen, right? We don't have anybody to go kill the buffalo because this is the guy that we had, like, who was really good. Well, then what happened? They were like, all right, we need more than one person that needs to be. So they all started practicing, right? And like became like a bunch of wolves. And so they all went after one buffalo, and they had 10 warriors throwing spears, and they finally got that one buffalo down, right? And what's fun about this is Stan's like now 10 years old, 11 years old, and Stan's really kind of learning what's going on here. And so he's like, the buffalo must be really important to my tribe. So I'm going to find out more about the buffalo. So we just started observing the buffalo, kind of noticed the buffalo and that kind of thing. And so finally he had an idea. And he goes, all right, here's what I want to do. I want to scare the buffalo. And they all started laughing at him. This little kid, 10 years old, like, you're going to scare the buffalo? How are you going to do that? It's like, you're not going to do that. And it's like, no, I want to scare him. And they're like, what? That doesn't even make sense, right? I mean, here we are, we got a buffalo and we're eating but Stan's like this happens all the time. And every 2 weeks we're starving because, one buffalo doesn't kind of feed us all. And it's just like, man, just seems like you guys take forever to actually get one. So Stan decided to try his own system. So he went out and he noticed that they hung out by this bluff. So Stan went out and he started like grabbing some limbs and some branches and some trees, and not whole trees, but the branches and stuff like that. And he walked up and he crept real close back behind the herd of buffalo. And he knew which one the leader was. It was the biggest, baddest one, right? And he stands up and goes, like that. He starts banging the brushes together, and the leader perks up, looks at him, and he literally thought he was going to rush. And Stan thought, this is it, I'm dead. Instead, the buffalo turned around and ran away. And Stan's like, running behind him. Yeah, this is awesome. 20, 30 buffalo are running full on right over a cliff. And they all died. 30 buffalo died. And so Stan went back to the tribe leaders and the warriors and said, hey, listen, I just want you to know I just killed 30 buffalo. You killed 30 buffalo? That's hilarious. He goes, well, come over here and look. And he saw all of them and they look up at the cliff and they look at Stan and like look up, they look at Stan. It's like, that's crazy. Like, how did that even happen? Right? So they go, the squaws and the tribe cleans the buffalo, and they've got enough food for an entire winter. They're good to go for a long, long time. And guess what? The next year, Stan does the same thing. Scares the lead buffalo off the cliff, 20. Well, then he was getting so good at it that every time he saw one, he'd go, like that, and they would fall off the cliff, right? They would just run off the cliff. And what was cool about that is they had the food, but then the squaws starting to get a little mad at them. And the tribe was getting a little mad because they were wasting buffalo, right? They were starting wasting, so because there were too many. There were just too many. And it got so bad or so good that with the buffalo, you remember like Jurassic Park when the T-Rex goes up and smells the Allosaurus poop and runs away scared? It got so bad that when Stan would pee or poop out in the field, that buffalo would run away from it. That's how, like, they saw Stan as this like huge, ferocious, like T-Rex, right? And would run over and so long story short is then a cowboy like saw what was going on and saw a bunch of buffalo jump over a cliff, and the cowboy didn't see anything, like, why did those buffalo jump over the cliff? And one of the cowboys, oh yeah, stampede. And so that's how we actually come to this day with the word stampede. Is that Stan peed in the field, and that's how scared the buffalo were.
I did not see this coming.
I know, and that's what I love about it. I've never told you that story before. But so buffalo tend to stampede, and they stampede themselves right over a cliff. So here's the point of there. I mean, how many freaking points are there in that story? Right?
Yeah, there's a
I
lot.
mean, there are. I mean, how many of us go for one referral at a time, right? And a lot of times we do it by asking. And guess what? Asking for referrals doesn't work, just like the buffalo that ran away. So what do? We learn a better script and maybe we hit it. But then if you die or you quit doing production because you're leading a team or it's not you asking, then guess what? The better script doesn't work. What if 10 of you asked for a referral, right? And it's like you have a team of people throwing. And it's like, no, you're still going after one buffalo. Well, that's where I came in. This is why I got over 500 documented referrals a year and over 600 2 or 3 years, is I would get 200 referrals at one event, right? And so here's the positive and negative. And this goes to answer your question is, right, well, what happens after events? I get 300 referrals at one event. What happens to you? What happens to the team? When the Maher team got 300 referrals, you would think it would be the best thing. I'd be like, yeah, let's go, 300 referrals. My team hated me because we had all of this follow-up and we had all of this work, and the 4 weeks of follow-up after an event for 300 referrals when 300 people or 200 people came to the event was so intensive that it was hard to do real estate and it was hard to do the follow-up from the events. And trust me, when you get 300 referrals, you're calling 300 referral sources and you're calling 300 referrals. That doesn't even include the follow-up from all of the people who didn't attend or didn't refer you, or the people who did attend and didn't refer you, or should have attended but didn't attend. You've got a lot of people to follow up with. And that's what Scott kind of realized last year too, is he was having these big events and then he was the hub of communication for 4 weeks and it was exhausting. It was just almost too much. So that's why I am on the small events, big results kick right now. And that's why the focus for this spring, which starts today, this spring Event Mastery is all about small events, big results. Less than 40 people, less than 40. 10 is great, 20 is great, 30 is great. Less than 40, and you're going to get a manageable amount of follow-up afterwards. And that's the key to the Event Mastery for this spring, is we're going to really, really focus on, kind of having more intimate, smaller event. You're going to get maybe 10 or 12 referrals instead of, Lynn got 35, right? And it's just like, all right, that's
still a lot.
That's still a lot, right? Especially for one person.
Yeah.
So, and that just happened, right? And it's like, sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is better. Less people can be better because of the more interaction. Less people is more manageable. Less people is less cost in most cases. And so that's going to be our big focus for Event Mastery. Listen, if you've listened to Referrals podcast for the last 3 years, if you're not on the event train, then you want to play small. That's just the truth. This is the secret to playing big in the referral world, customer service world, customer experience world. Like, you want to grow your business, this is how you do it. You look at any company out there that's ever grown their business. I mean, you look at all the other coaching companies. How do they build their business? Do you think they built their business by sitting in the office? No, they all go to events and sell coaching. They all create events and then they sell you coaching. And what's funny about that is when they sell you coaching, they don't sell you coaching on doing events. They sell you coaching on doing the same crap people have done, like in the real estate world, forever. The traditional sales approach, the cold call. They don't do any cold calling. Are you kidding? When's the last time you got a cold call from like a Tom Ferry or Brian? When's the last time you got a handwritten note from Brian Buffini? I'd like to know, really, seriously. But here's enough of that. But it's one of those where it's like, how do they sell coaching? How did Keller Williams become one of the top real estate? They ran the referral mastery system. They ran events, and then they had follow-up one-on-ones to recruit agents. They didn't do anything special. They led with education at the time. They don't anymore, but they led with education. And then they would have a one-to-one afterwards and go, do you get education like that at your brokerage? And you go, no. And it's like, well, this is what we do. You get it all the time here. We're an educational founded, company at the time. And so it's one of those where, I more and more companies are getting on the event train every day. And guess what? It doesn't, you can run an event solo. I did it for years. And then Sheri helped me. Then my sister Susan helped me. Then Janae helped me. And then Ashley helped me. And you know what? We did it with a really small staff, and we had humongous, beautiful, wonderful events. And the cool thing about a small event, it's also more manageable. You don't need as much help, but it's still a beautiful thing.
Well, and that's what I love about the Event Mastery class is that it's a 7-week online class. So you tune in, but it's not just about learning for 7 weeks about how to do an event. It's like, hey, this week, this is what you're doing. You're going to figure out what type of event you're going to do. You're going to name it and you're going to pick a date and you're going to find a venue and okay, boom. And you've got until Friday to get that done.
Yep.
And then the next week, it's like, okay, we now have our event. So let's create the invitation. Who are you going to invite? How are we going to collect RSVPs? The third week, okay, start collecting those RSVPs, follow up. And it literally walks you through week by week to where, okay, this is the event week. You do your event. And then the last week of the class is like, okay, you did your event. Tally up who you need to follow up with. How many referrals did you get? Thank your sponsors, thank your charity, and how to follow up. And it's literally, like you were saying, just like holding their hand on how to do an event. And if you're looking to do a small event, it's not scary especially when you're walked through it like that. So.
Yep. Well, that's what I love about it. And it's our signature course. It really is. It's the events are, central to our 2 business plans. We have the 2 YAPs. We have the all YAP, which is for everyone or have ever met. And that's your yearly appreciation plan. And then we have the top YAP, which is for your top people, your VIPs. And that is the yearly ambassador program, YAP, yearly ambassador program, because we want to keep our ambassadors in the army of ambassadors and speaking highly of us and refer us often. Well, the way to do that is regular communication. And so we have 4 events for the top YAP and we have 3 events for the all YAP. You can run one or the other. You don't have to run both of those. Our focus in the spring event mastery, which starts today, is going to be the top YAP type of an event. More of a smaller, more intimate, exclusive type of experience for the people who are attending it. And I'm excited about it. And you brought up such a great point on that. The reason it's the signature thing and the reason that we have, there's going to be a lot of people in this class, right? But it's one of those where everything else revolves. Here's the thing. What are you, the listener of this, what are you talking to the people around you about today? What are you talking to your database? What could you literally pick up the phone and call your database about today that you'd be excited about? Is there something you're excited about right now? And if there's not, guess what? What if you could be excited about something every day of the year? And that's what the YAPs do. Is what are you going to be excited about? You're going to be excited that your event's coming up. Afterwards, you're going to be excited that you had the event, and you're going to be excited that you have an event coming up. That event happens. What are you doing? Before and after. Before, you're excited about the event. Afterwards, you're excited it happened, and you're excited about the next event, right? We say the secret is in the series, and that's the truth. Is the secret to success when it comes to the referrals is having a series of events. The first event you have, you'll get maybe 10 or 12 referrals, which for some people, that's a great year. But for us, it's so funny. We just had event mastery in the fall. And I remember one of the students was saying, well, and I got 12 referrals and so on. And they said it so matter of fact. And everybody in the audience was just like, okay, right? And it was like, is this how far we've come? Where we take 12 referrals at an event for granted.
Yeah.
In a world where, some people don't get 12 referrals a year.
Yeah.
And
in a few years.
Yeah, in some cases, a few years. but it's really being super proactive. It's fun. Funprospecting.com is our domain, because you know what? That's what I see this as. It's fun prospecting. What if you could, host people for a movie, get a lot of referrals. They watch the movie. They love the movie. They love you because you made it happen. And they give you, dozens of referrals.
I just had someone say today in one of our coaching calls, and she was like, two things. One, she's putting on a smaller event. She rented out some pickleball courts.
Nice.
And so she could only have like 12 people. And she said, literally every single person she has called has said yes, like right there on the phone with her. So I'm like, oh, she's like, I've only got 4 spots left. And so I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. I'm like, that tells you you're onto something. But
wait, Jose, I have to say this immediately kicks in like a part of my brain that people will love, because this is not like I immediately think that person needs to go to eventhelper.com and get event insurance right now. And here's the thing, before they get on that pickleball court, you better have somebody that stretches them out and does something dynamic stretch wise, because I have so many of my friends who are actually athletic, or I thought they were, get hurt playing pickleball. Yeah. And it's like, how do you get hurt playing pickleball? But here's the thing, I would just tell your coaching client, hey, make sure that there's a stretch, that you need to have a personal trainer as a sponsor who warms them up before they go and play the pickleball contest. But I love that idea. Oh my God, I love that idea. It's the number 1 fastest growing sport, if you can call it a sport, in America. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, I did. And actually, I think, I don't know, she all of her events are very like action oriented. So like she's done a spin class before, and she's done like cryo and like all this kind of stuff. Anyway,
wow. I like
so
that.
yeah. But the other thing was, she said she was trying to think, she said so far she's only had one person that said maybe, and that was because she was trying to think of a reason why she should follow up with a $3 million buyer that she has. And she was like trying to think of another reason to call them. And, was like, without sounding salesy, and she knew that this buyer, is a tennis player, like a really good tennis player. And so she's like, I'm just going to call her. So she called her. She's like, hey, I don't know if you play pickleball or not, but I'm doing this client event and I thought of you. I can only have so many people come. And of course, the client was like, oh my gosh, well, I've never played. And so like they had this great conversation, and she said it had nothing to do with real estate, but she felt like so much closer, and the date is the issue, not the sport. So anyway, she's supposed to follow, but now she has a reason to follow up with her again about if she's going to take that final spot in her event.
You just brought up some of the greatest reasons to do event mastery, right? And have an event, is because it always gives you something to talk about. I mean, that's the power of and there's, there's really 5 sequences in the event mastery. We talked, the secret is in the series, right? But within event mastery, there's 5 sequences. And number 1 is the planning sequence. Oh my gosh, you mean we're actually going to have a plan? Yes, a plan with a checklist and everything. And we say the success is in the planning, because we all know from Zig Ziglar, failing to plan is planning to fail. So what we need to do is make sure that we plan so that we have success. We don't want to fail. We are going to fail in some levels, but we want it mostly to be a success. So the planning is in the success is in the planning. And then the second sequence is the power is in the invitation. It's the invitation sequence. And that's a powerful sequence. And we say the power is in the invitation because, just like the example you just gave, you're going to get business and referrals from inviting people. It's the conversation that matters, not the topic, right? So what's the best reason to call? What's the number 1 reason to call or talk to anybody or communicate with anybody in any way? It's an invitation. Why? By definition, it is attractive. You're saying invite, right? In vital, in my life, vitals, right? From your life, in vital, invite. I want to invite you, bring you into my life by doing this event. And so the power is in the invitation, and it truly is. And then the confirmation sequence and the attendance is in the confirmation. And we've had it with like housewarming parties where we used to get like 50% of the invitation, the people who said they were going to come would actually attend. And then we started confirming, and all of a sudden we were getting 80, 90, and over 100% attendance. So the attendance really is in the confirmation. We need to make sure we confirm with the people who said they were going to come. And then the energy is in the event. So we have the event sequence, which is the day of the event. And truly, the energy is in the event. It's going to create so much energy in your life, with your team, with your tribe. So it's going to create a lot of energy around you, and that's power. And then, of course, following the event, we need to have the follow-up sequence, and we say that the fortune is in the follow-up. And truly it is, because the value has now been delivered and the value has been received by your database, by your tribe, and now they want to give back. Well, if you're teaching and training them correctly, and I will go over quite a few scripts in Event Mastery on what to say, but when you follow up correctly, they will start pouring in the referrals to thank you for the event and thank you for the value that they got from that event. You know, we're always looking for how do we provide value after the transaction, especially like in real estate or lending, is we have that very narrow time frame from contract to close. And what do we do after? Well, guess what? We've cracked the code on that. We've discovered the secret, and we have this system that generates a lot of referrals, more referrals post-closing than you get contract to closing ever. And so that's the bottom line to all this. I mean, and then you take like our they event strategies, which is like the 7 steps to connecting with connectors for networking events, and the housewarming party events, which are housewarmings that you do after buyers or borrowers buy a house. Or if you're a landscaping company, you put the landscaping in and you do a backyard party and you have a grill and you leave the grill as a parting gift, but you get a chance to meet all their friends at the backyard party, right? So you have those parties. Well, what do you do next? Then you invite those people that are at the they events to your we events. And you know what people who are at events like to do? They like to go to events. And guess what? The people who like to go to events are the best referral sources. Why are they the best referral sources? They're the most social, and they're interacting with the most amount of people. So it's just one of those where it builds an incredible momentum and synergy and a two-way line of communication and flow with your database and with the people you know and the people that they know. So that's what I love about the Referral Mastery System. I love that. I love the focus on Event Mastery, especially with it starting later today. And by the way, if you're listening to this on Thursday, March 16th or whatever, there's still time to get in. You can really get in the first week and catch up pretty easily. After session 2, it is tougher to get involved. Mm-hmm. But if you're listening to this anytime during that week, you're good to go. And we welcome you. We invite you. And you're invited to join us on the Event Mastery. And then just sign up for Referral Mastery Academy. It's less than $100, and you're going to get 3 Event Masteries, which is over $3,000 in value. And you're paying $1,200 a year, or less than $1,200 a year for that, plus a lot of other good stuff. I think Referral Mastery Academy is literally the biggest no-brainer in sales and business. We have Fortune 500 company CMOs in there. We have solopreneurs who are just getting started in there. That's what I love about it. It really covers the gambit. And please, everybody remember Stampede.
Oh my God. I thought I had heard all of your dad jokes, and I had not heard that one.
That coming. I brought up Jurassic Park, and I brought up T-Rex and Allosaurus. Do you know why dinosaurs don't make great pets?
Yes.
Why?
No, Michael, why don't dinosaurs make great pets?
They're dead.
Yeah.
That's why they don't make great pets. Oh, don't be a dinosaur, people. They're extinct. The traditional method of business is a dinosaur, and it is dying. and it is nearly extinct. Get on. I just saw some of the biggest marketers in the world are writing books on relationships, authentic relationships. What a novel concept, right? And I see everybody kind of jumping on the Gen train and the events train and the relationships train, and it's just like, we've already got it figured out. Come on over.
Yeah,
right?
so come on.
Yeah, come on over. You're invited to this big giant event we call the Fun Prospecting Party, and I think this was fun, and I hope we should do this again sometime. Are you up for that?
Mm-hmm. But no more jokes.
No, there will be jokes. Because here's the thing, I'm not funny. People are like, well, you're funny, Michael. It's like, hey, listen, looks aren't everything. It's
You
all
think
good.
you're funny, so.
I do, which is all that is really important. I do. I literally crack myself up. There's so many times when we have our meetings and I'm laughing,
Ollie thinks you're funny.
and nobody else is laughing. And
Ollie thinks you're funny.
yeah, and so does Neil, right? So it's like it's as long as I have like 2 or 3 people who laugh at all my jokes, then I'm good. So, but I'm not funny, and people don't come to Referrals podcast for my humor, right? They come for the guests, and they come for the system. So they want more referrals, and today I think we help people get more referrals, and I like that. So without further ado, I do want to say thank you, a big giant thank you to the producer and engineer and editor and everything of the podcast for years, and recently has decided that the who is not you. So she has delegated that and leveraged that to another expert that we have had the opportunity to hire. And I want to just say thank you, Sheri Maher, for being our guest today on Referrals Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, if you have not joined our referral group on Facebook, you need to join it. Join gengen.com gets you there, JOINGENGEN.com. Also, if you have not signed up for Referral Mastery Academy or Event Mastery, go to eventmastery.com. It gives you the opportunity to choose either of those that you want to sign up for. Event Mastery starts today. I'm so excited about it. Small events, big results. We're going to have, we've already done the big events, right? We're going to focus on the small events and get big results from small events. And I hope you sign up for it. I hope you make it happen. Regardless, just know that you are invited to the Generosity Generation. Welcome to the Generosity Generation. You're here to build your business based on love, generosity, and appreciation. And we love you for it. And we appreciate you for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, oh, by the way, I do know what next week's podcast is on, and you are going to be blown away. Today, you learned about the little Indian who could. Stan. Peed. And next week, there might just be another Indian story that you don't want to miss. I'll see you next week, everybody, on Referrals Podcast. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.